So here's my problem. I wasn't entirely honest with Barry back then. My actual count of guys I had you-know-what with is higher. I was a free spirit back in college before I figured out what I wanted to do. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I, a 31-year-old female, agreed to a prenup with my 34-year-old fiance. No problem. Now I know there's a polygraph involved. And guys, this story is all about a girl. She's writing in about her situation, where basically she's been with her fiance for a few years. He proposed. Everything's great. They're on easy street. However, before they obviously get married, they both are going to have prenups. They agreed, but she found out that the condition of the prenup is he wants to have her take a polygraph test. And can you guess about what? Yes, about her past, as well as things that she told him that he believed her, which maybe he clearly did not, about her past. So she's a bit upset and worried here because let's just say she wasn't exactly truthful about her past with him when they got together and all that. In fact, I believe, just remembering now, that she made out to be that her past lovers, the number was much less than his. So now she doesn't know what to do. And I'm doing this one, guys, aside from the entertainment factor, to show that the truth always comes out. Okay, one way or another. It could take 20 years, but it's going to come out. And nowadays, where it's pretty much encouraged by the feminist movement for gals to be to be free, spirited, and wild, and explore themselves. I'm speaking in code here. You get the point. Well, guess what? A lot of guys don't want a girl to be their future wife or fiance or whatever, even girlfriend, when they've hooked up with so many dudes that would make most people's mouths drop to the ground. And that's pretty common nowadays, sadly. Okay, the era of the girl next door is bye-bye. Okay, now I got no problem when girl throughout her years in her teens and college, she has relationships, and she's obviously having relations with that guy she's exclusive with. Okay, but when it's literally for the sake of just building up numbers, which I think is stupid for guys to do, quite frankly, that's a different ballgame. So you can't exactly blame guys when they say no way. So I'm going to go through this, guys. It's definitely entertaining. So it starts off, she says, a little background. I grew up in a small southern town, went to a mid-sized college for fashion merchandising. I went to work in my field, and 3 years ago I met my now fiance. Let's call him Barry. I am reasonably successful at my job, and Barry is ridiculously successful at his, in addition to coming from a fairly well-off family. So she's aimed high. The guy's got money. I forgot to mention that. His family's got a lot of dough. And he's, she says, ridiculously successful. In other words, he's higher up than she is. For women, they always want to get a guy that's obviously doing better than they are because they got a prize. Just the way a guy would love to get a woman that's higher in terms of the looks department than he is. Then he's got a prize. Anyway, we started dating long distance, and then I moved to his city with a promotion to regional, and we moved in together. I love this city and all my new friends here. I love my new position, and I love my fiance. Well, you're going to find out she loves lots of positions. We're looking at houses and everything. We're a great match. Barry is charming, wonderful, thoughtful, and attentive. Everything I want in a man. His family is very supportive of us and our plans, and is mine. When he proposed last year with a beautiful ring at the beach, I gleefully accepted. We talked about it and we agreed on a prenup to protect both of us in case of the worst. My motivation was to protect the inheritance I'm anticipating from my grandmother, a family farm of about 50 acres, and at my parents' home when they eventually pass. There's also some jewelry and antique china and other things I would never want to lose. It's not a lot compared to Barry's holdings, but it's mine. I would never want anything to happen to it. Nor would I want anything from Barry if we got divorced. So I didn't think anything of agreeing to a prenup. I think a prenup for anybody that's bold enough, or shall I say crazy enough to get married in the 2020s, is a good idea for both parts. Got no problem with that. She's got things from her family, the family farm, heirlooms, things like that. No problem. And of course, he's got his family wealth. It's a smart thing to do nowadays. However, only now his lawyer is putting it together. We're still over 8 months out to the wedding date, so this is a perfectly reasonable step. My lawyer looked it over and agreed it was pretty fair according to the laws of our state. I agree with him that we should go ahead with it, and he made the arrangements for this Friday. I went ahead and took the day off to sign the papers and have lunch with Barry to celebrate. But when I got back from my attorney, I noticed that part of what I'll be expected to do is participate in a polygraph examination. Holy crap, this is a first one, guys. I've never heard about somebody in terms of prenups, having somebody participate in a polygraph test. And as you're going to see, she's a bit nervous here. So will Barry. I can put together a list of questions for him, and he can do the same for me. But we'll be making the answers hooked up to a lie detector. I've done these in the past for security checks, so I know how they will work. But she's done these in the past for security checks, for working in fashion merchandising. Last time I checked, I didn't know there was a lot of security checks for fashion merchandising, but okay. Well, here's the problem. When Barry and I got together at first, and we were exchanging particulars after our first date, and he casually asked about the number of men I've been with, the usual S-word history stuff adults all do. At the time, I didn't think much about it and gave him my usual answer. 5 guys. 5 dudes. Do you expect any guy to believe that nowadays? That your average gal who, let's just say is above average looks, this guy's successful and got money, so I'm guaranteeing she's above average looks, has only been 5 dudes? Not a chance in hell. And notice she says here, my usual answer. So she's gotten this question before and always gives the same number. There you go. She says, that seemed reasonable, even a little conservative at the time. I only counted long-term relationships since high school, and the boy I lost my virginity to as real relationships, not the high school boys I fooled around with or the other guys that I met. And here's the problem. She starts the whole relationship off based on a lie and deceit. These things are important to guys. I guarantee when he met her, he was at a point probably in his career. I'm going to start looking for a gal I want to get married to, family, all that, because the guy's conservative, as you're going to find out. So the whole thing started off based on a lie, and these things do come out, as you guys are about to see. But here's the thing. In the suggestions my attorney sent me for questions, where he told me that the other side will be asking similar questions, there's a lot about sexual past and infidelity. So here's my problem. I wasn't entirely honest with Barry back then. My actual count of guys I've had you-know-what with is higher. I was a free spirit in college before I figured out what I wanted to do, and took a year off to travel before graduating. Free spirit? Translation, carousel rider? It's always funny when the terms that are used, free spirit. A very broad term used by, broads. That was a very fun year, S-word speaking. I made a lot of mistakes, of course, but I was getting valuable experience and learning a lot about myself. Valuable experience doing what? Hooking up with dudes left and right. Did that really help you in fashion merchandising and for all your security checks and all the lie detector tests you had to take? I mean, this is really screwed up. And learning a lot about yourself. Well, again, what are you learning there? But I know Barry would not be happy with the real number. You think? You lied to him she should have been honest. He may have walked away and said, hey, it was a good time meeting you. I enjoyed having the drinks and having the food at Outback, but you know what? It's not going to work. Okay. Maybe even enough to postpone or cancel the wedding. That would devastate me, but his family is a little conservative and religious. I know he doesn't have much respect for infidelity or women who sleep around. I'm terrified that he'll ask me those questions or learn about the few times I cheated in past relationships. Aha! So not only has she lied about that, but also the fact that she's cheated in past relationships. Once a cheater, always a cheater. People don't change. Leopard don't change their spots. So she's a liar and a cheater. And guess what will probably happen if things don't go well? Correct. It's a darn good thing that this guy is doing a prenup and this polygraph test. This is a darn good idea. We've been together almost constantly for 3 years, and I love him deeply. I don't know what to do. You're deep shit, honey. Best thing you can do is come clean and hope for the best, and don't lie to him anymore. But obviously she's so used to this, good luck there. I'm no longer that girl who did all those things. I've grown and matured. How many times have I heard something along those lines doing videos for both this channel and my other channel? I just don't think Barry will see it that way. You think? He's a lot less experienced than me, only 8 partners total. And he does get a little jealous when I mention my exes. He found out about something I did with one guy that I declined to do with Barry, and he was hurt for weeks. I don't see what he'll do if he learns about all that I've done. Hang on here, let's go back here. He found out about something I did with one guy that I declined to do with Barry, and was hurt about it for weeks. So, you want to talk about a stereotype. The free spirits will do anything during the free spirit days with the guys that are totally disposable, the Chad and Tyrone bad boys. Then they're ready to settle and they meet that nice guy. The nice guy that is, well, nice guy, treats her like the queen, or he's ambitious, he's going to do well. He's the guy she can marry, bring home to mom and dad, get a house in the suburbs with a white picket fence and 2.5 kids and a cat and a dog. But those guys don't get the same type of treatment that the guys that she had fun with when she was younger. Why? She doesn't have to. Because she knows darn well those guys are the nice guys and they think they got themselves a prize. She has to do the bare minimum to get this guy. Meanwhile, the guys she really wanted back in the day, the guys she was trying to get their validation from, the Chads and Tyrones, because they don't give it, she's willing to do anything you could possibly imagine. So this guy here, who's her fiance, who's going to marry her, you would think, in a world that makes sense, that she'd be willing to give this guy whatever he wanted. I mean, so long as it didn't cause her any kind of, harm or anything like that. Or at least what she was doing back in the old days with the guy she was exploring herself with and being a free spirit with. Nope. And a lot of guys find this out in these stories I go over, and they lose it. It's quite understandable. And you know what? It'd be like a woman finding out, she let's say she's with a guy, and he's not very romantic with her at all, didn't do special things for her and all that, but she found out that back in the day with previous girlfriends, he was Mr. Romance and all that, those types of things, and she'd be upset. It's the same, it's different, but it's the same kind of thing. She says, so what do I do? I've already confirmed my appointment for Friday before I figure this out, and I'm now a train wreck. If I back out, he's going to want to know why. If I admit lying, he's not going to trust me. I'm a basket case and can't even go into work over this. Any thoughts? Yeah, here's a thought. If you're going to do anything to potentially make this thing work and pretty much, get things back on track and show a shred of integrity, is you come clean with the guy. You go pull him aside and you're 100% honest. Even if it hurts, even if it's embarrassing, even if the odds are great that he's going to walk away, then you do it, because there is no way he's ever going to trust you unless she is 100% honest with the guy. No twisting things around or sugarcoating or whatever. No. 100%. I lied. I lied because if I was afraid, if you knew the real number, then you'd walk. Or I was afraid if you knew that I cheat on boyfriends, plural, multiple boyfriends in the past, again, you'd walk. And you know what? He should have. If you're on a date, guys, with a gal and she admitted in the past she has a history of cheating on boyfriends, go. Check, please, because she'll do it to you, because that's her way of handling things. Okay, instead of just breaking up and moving on, she cheats and waits for it and uses a replacement. And if she tells you a number that's so high that just makes your hair turn white, you have every right to walk away. But she's a liar and she's a cheater. Now, here are some comments, and you're going to see now a whole lot of sympathetic people out to her plight. One guy says, so you lied and admitted parts of your past and may make you look bad to your future husband. Honestly, if you want a chance at this marriage happening, just sit down and be honest with him ahead of time. It'll be a lot worse if he gets the results and is blindsided than if you sit him down and tell him. I mean, you have to reap what you sowed. The lying was a mistake, not what you did in your past. Well, I disagree with that part. Come clean about the lies and tell him everything you're afraid of and do it on your own terms. Then Friday there will be no blindside. That's the only thing she can do. But my question is, let's just say hypothetically she went and told him the truth, 100% the truth, no sugarcoating, and he took a lot of time to process it and decided to okay, give her another chance. The question is, would she be able to go through her life and marriage with this guy, not lying and amongst many other things? Who knows? The odds are no. Maybe she could, but the odds are no. Another guy says, you are in this hole because you deliberately lied to him in the past. You knew full well he wasn't asking how many long-term relationships you've been in. If you don't love him enough to be honest with him, then your marriage is already effed. Correct. Now, here's the last one, and this is a little long, but it hits the nail on the head, and wait to hear her response. This guy says, why do you feel comfortable still lying to him? Seriously, forget everything else. Forget everyone talking about the lie detector test being BS. Forget about people giving them bullshit. Your number doesn't matter, and he doesn't need to know answer. Well, what do you still feel comfortable lying to your fiance? This right here is the biggest issue, and you don't have any problem deceiving your fiance. You don't appear to have a problem continuing to lie to him, and you don't seem to have a problem lying to get him to do things you want, marrying you. At what point do you seriously start thinking about him making an informed decision about marrying you? So far, you have repeatedly stated that you don't want to look like you are marrying him for his money, and all your actions state that you will lie about anything to get him to marry you. Ding, ding, ding. Seriously, every step you talked about here is 100% selfish in nature, and none of it is considered your fiance at all. I honestly question if you're just trying to marry him for his money, because nothing you have stated shows any remorse or care for your fiance. And here's her response. These were in the comments section. She says, "Oh God, I'm remorseful as hell. I'm finally being held accountable about something I felt guilty about for years. This isn't fair to Barry. No, he does deserve to know the truth. I'm afraid of what will happen." See, I'm not afraid of breaking his heart. I'm not afraid of him causing him a lot of pain. I'm afraid that he's going to walk away and I'm going to miss this great opportunity to marry a guy that's driven, successful, comes from money, which will come to me one day, amongst many other things. So the moral of this whole story is people need to be open and honest at the beginning, always, any kind of relationships. Romantic, friendships, business, and there are consequences to actions. But we're in a day and age nowadays that nobody thinks about consequences, or everybody's gonna play the victim card, or have some kind of way out through some kind of label they have on themselves. Oh, I have this, oh, I have that. Therefore, I'm excused for my bad decision making and actions. Now, guys, there was an update to this story about what happened with her, and I was dying to do it. But I looked everywhere. There was the title, but it had been deleted. And I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find it. But I got enough information just to let you know that pretty much she did come and tell him. She told him the truth. The polygraph test was off. And take a wild guess, so was the wedding. So he walked. And at the very least, it seems like that he was taking his time about it. But she told him, which was the smartest thing to do. I don't know what details she told him. I don't know if there was shades of the truth, but she told him enough, and the dude called off the wedding and he walked. So there you go. Who knows what will happen, but I thought you guys would want to hear about that. I looked everywhere to try to find. I couldn't do that. But again, this doesn't surprise me. This is how things are in today's world. Again, like, as I say a lot of times, Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0 world. And so if you're going to do a lot of things when you're younger, whatever it could be, keep in mind, for you young people watching this, it can come back to haunt you one day. End of story. And if maybe when she told him in the beginning, if he liked her a lot, he maybe would have given her a chance. I don't know. But there you go. So for a lot of young people watching this, when you're thinking that, I got to go be a free spirit and hook up with every dude in town, or if it's a guy, hook up with every girl in town, keep in mind that it can come back to haunt you one day. And it's funny how it really, this generation, it seems like ever since back the 60s and 70s, it's like you're not empowered, you're not free, you're not this or that, unless you get my point. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. I thought it was a good one, especially the whole lie detector element. I've never heard that before. It's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Be sure to comment down below and what you think about this. And guys, you come across a really good story like me to cover on this channel, by all means, email to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.